truth at all times. We all knew the economy was in crisis, but some of the things I'm discovering myself, I mean, it's been a criminal handling of our economy. And Ghana is a crime scene, actually, because how a government can have been so reckless, I cannot understand. But we're faced with a reality, and our options are very few. We can behave like the ostrich and hide our heads in the sand and let the economy crash. But then what effect would it have on Ghanaian households and everybody? And so I've told him, I said, cut expenditure as much as you like. Even we ourselves in Office of Government Machinery cut as much of our budget as you like, because we all must make those sacrifices. A certain distrust of the political class has arisen, because it's like when everybody else is tightening their belts, the political class is loosening its belts. But I want to assure you that we're all going to tighten our belts, and there will be no wasteful expenditure. It is said that we create and share. And so let's start cooking the meal now so that we can share when we have created. But right now, the meal is not only insufficient, the cooking pot is even leaking. And so I'll just appeal to you that let's tamper our demands for this year. And once we get out of the woods, we've set good targets to bring inflation down so that the cost of everything will come down. We've set targets to grow the economy, to make things better. And when the cake is baked and is bigger, we'll share bigger. We are proposing an independent emoluments committee that would set the incomes for everybody from the president right down to the ordinary laborer. We're prepared to walk this journey with you, but I just appeal to you that let's reach agreement on this one so that we use this year as the year of correction. And then after we've corrected, we'll see how the economy continues to go. Once the economy moves in the direction that we are all hoping for, we all, if we have an independent emoluments committee, maybe if you suggest 35%, I'll support you because it will affect my pay too.
A bit of an understanding, like Kamani and Daniel were discussing earlier, why Labour had nothing else to do than agree to that 10%, following the words of the president during that tripartite committee meeting earlier this morning. But quickly, before we head out of the studio, CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, has pledged to enforce a new shipping law to protect Ghanaian interests. He made the commitment while addressing concerns about multinational dominance in the sector during a tour of the Western region. Irama Smith has more.
The Ghana Shippers Authority Act, signed into law in 2024 by former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is designed to address long-standing issues such as unfair charges, lack of transparency and weak regulatory oversight in the maritime sector. It replaces the outdated 1974 Act, which has governed the industry for half a century. But even with the law in place, some stakeholders say implementation remains a challenge, as the legislative instrument to implement the law is yet to be formed, with foreign companies still taking businesses meant for Ghanaian shippers. Professor Jampo, underscoring the need as a regulator to enforce the law to ensure a level playing field for shippers, asked for the swift enactment of the legislative instrument to implement the Shippers Law.
The Ghana Shippers Authority Act 2024, and it gives us a lot of mandate, it gives us a lot of powers to perform our regulatory functions very well. We are preparing an LI that would shape and direct the implementation of the contents and provisions of the law. The LI will not do so without their inputs. And so we want to tamper the LI with their inputs and suggestions that they would all make.
Meanwhile, freight forwarders in the Western region lament a significant drop in cargo volumes at the port, describing the situation as alarming and detrimental to their operations.
Our challenges are enormous, especially those of us based in Takoradi very, very often. Takoradi formerly was booming because the imports were regular here. The exports basically was directed through this place. And unfortunately, suddenly changes of government, gradually things got stacked up in Accra Tema, and it's creating a lot of problem for us. We have been agitating for government policies to ensure that certain specific even items dominate at Takoradi Port. Recently, the flow of goods in Takoradi is hindered by our high freight costs.
Professor Jampo has, however, assured stakeholders that their concerns would be addressed.
I was to listen to the freight forwarders here and the concerns that they have. They've tabled a lot of them before me. And some of them, I think, they require some commonsensical approach to address them. And so what I intend doing is I have heard so many things, and I'm yet to settle down. So we would sit down to look at all the concerns that have been tabled before us by the various stakeholders and see the appropriate authorities and people or officials of state that we can work with for the purposes of addressing such concerns.
Oh, then that's Professor Jampo officially on his working tour to the Western region. That's it. That's our bulletin for you this afternoon. I am Awina Egbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. Next is the afternoon show. Thank you so much for your company.